Hey guys, welcome to My Talk Wrestling Reviews. I am your host, Boise, and this is NXT UK review. We have a packed episode, so let's just get straight on with it. Let's hit the music. So we kicked off the show with a local hero for me, Leggero versus Mike Hitchman. Mike Hitchman, who's the wild boar man. This was an okay match. Leggero, who weirdly enough I only saw a couple months back performing in Keithley, now on the WWE Network, is just mind blowing. The guy has been around for donkeys over here, especially around the Yorkshire area, and he is one of the most well known Yorkshire wrestlers. And he's great. He's absolutely fantastic. I'm glad he had a good showing. It wasn't fantastic, absolutely brilliant, but it was a good enough match to go, this guy can do all sorts. He's a technical wrestler. He's a high flyer. He can do anything really, and it just shows. And I'm glad he's got this opportunity. I think Hitchman was probably the best type of opponent. He's not, that well known, and I think Leggero he's going to be up there in that upper mid card, because he's definitely worth that checking out. I thought this match was quite decent. Again, this is just getting people used to new superstars who are, if you haven't seen the UK tournament before, Leggero was in that. He got knocked out, I think, in the first round, but he is an absolute brilliant superstar to have on your roster. So for me, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It's a good introduction for two new superstars, and I think it just shows you exactly what Yorkshire wrestling can do. Next up, we had a bit of a surprise, really, for me especially. We had Killer Kelly versus Dakota Kai. Yes, Dakota Kai, who's from NXT, the main branch of NXT in the States, was on the UK brand, which is awesome. I think that's great that we can... I think this is just a sign saying, look, even if you're on the NXT UK brand, you can turn up on NXT, and if you're on the NXT brand, you can go on to the UK brand, which is great. It means that we can get wrestlers from both territories really coming across and, elevating the, divisions. And I think Dakota Kai, who had spent time over here in the UK, she did perform in Progress. She is someone the UK brand and fans know already, so it made sense her coming over, taking part on NXT UK, because she is a big name now. She was a big name in the, over here, but now she's on NXT quite a lot. She's become a bigger and bigger brand, and I think her coming up back, just helping out on this newer division, especially the UK women's division, that really is going to elevate the whole landscape. Killer Kelly, she's been around for some time now. She's been on quite a lot of NXT UK shows. She's quite hard hitting. She was in the Mae Young Classic this year. She is another up and coming superstar, and I think she's awesome as well. So this was quite a good little matchup between the two. I found it entertaining from start to finish. Dakota Kai was definitely going to get the win. She's the bigger name out of the two, but Killer Kelly could be a huge name in the UK women's division on NXT. I think she could be the good, one of the best heels, because once she gets a chance to actually get her character out, which you haven't yet got to see, she is a really great heel. So I can't wait to see when they actually get her to let her be herself. So for me, I'm going to give this another solid 6 out of 10. Very, very entertaining. Another welcome to NXT UK kind of show. Next up, we had kind of an interesting little promo. It's one of the last week we had a really great promo between Mustache Mountain. This week we had Zack Gibson, the guy who took on Pete Dunne for the UK tournament. And this was fine. It just shows you Zack Gibson is the biggest heel on the UK brand right now, because I could barely hear hardly anything he was saying, because the crowd were just booing him out of the building. And that's what you really want. You want your heels to feel like they can't really say anything, because the crowd just are going to automatically be against them. And Zack Gibson works on that perfectly. Afterwards on Twitter, he took photos of people who were booing him, and it was just like, these are the people who caused me to have the most trouble. And I thought, yes, that's awesome, brilliant heel work. But pretty much the simplified version of what he was trying to say is he was annoyed that the first episode of NXT UK he wasn't going to have another title opportunity against Pete Dunne because he felt it was robbed because he had to fight that night to get an opportunity to take on Pete Dunne while Pete Dunne was fresh. I mean, obviously he lost to Pete Dunne that night and not able to take the UK Championship away from him. So he's saying, look, I had to have 2 fights that night. While Pete Dunne was nice and refreshed, I should have another opportunity. Why did someone like Noam Dar have an opportunity? And it's like calling out Noam Dar. Noam Dar comes out, both men are about to fight, and the GM of the UK brand pulls them both into his office and pretty much states they're going to have a match next week. Is it next week or coming up? Which was great. It was really good build. Zack Gibson really coming off like a brilliant heel. Noam Dar, and nice to see Noam Dar still going to stick around for a bit on the UK brand. He is a big name over here, and I think he is a great babyface. I know a lot of the time on 205 he was a heel, but he's much better at being a babyface when he is a heel, in my opinion. He's just one of those guys you just want to support. So for me, it's getting a solid, I'm going to say 7 out of 10 because Zack Gibson just killed it on the promo. Next up we had Ashton Smith versus Tucker. Now Ashton Smith, again, another UK who was only recently in the UK tournament, this year's UK tournament, and Tucker who was in last year's UK tournament. Both really good competitors. Ashton Smith, it was the one wrestler I didn't really know much about before at the start of this year's UK tournament, and when I watched him compete, I went, damn, this guy has absolute ability. I want to see how far they can push him. For me, this is a good introduction to both men. Again, most of the matches we're going to get for the next couple of weeks, I feel, are going to be more introduction to Van's storyline. We might have some storylines going into the future, but this was definitely more like anything under the main event is going to be pretty much, this is an introduction, and we might just have some storylines, but it's mostly, this is a new brand, there you go. But this was a good way. You can definitely see Smith being very much a babyface in this whole match, where Tucker came off looking like a babyface at first. Then he started using a little bit more heel tactics, calling for a timeout. Referee said, and Smith did, and he used that to his advantage to smack Smith in the face. So, it's kind of like, ooh, we could see a Tucker character be a heel, maybe a face, doesn't know yet. He's kind of in the middle. I think the creative team are just like, look, just play what you want to play right now. Just get the crowds used to your styles. And Smith did get the victory. It was a much more closer match than I was expecting between the two, because I couldn't really remember Tucker that well, but I remember Smith a little bit better between the two competitors, so it was kind of like, yeah, this makes sense that Smith gets the victory. He was only recently just on WWE TV, so it kind of makes sense that he would get the victory. The match itself was fine. Like I keep saying, they're introduction matches, but they're just doing what they need to do to get the characters out there. So for me, again, it's going to get another 6 out of 10. Next up, it was the main event, and these guys did not need introductions to the crowd because we all know who they are. It's Wolfgang versus Tyler Bates. Tyler Bates being the first United Kingdom champion, and Wolfgang coming out as one of the biggest names out of the original UK tournament. Wolfgang for me was like, when the first UK tournament started, everyone's like, he's going to be a heel. They're going to put him straight a heel, and the crowd just started more and more liking Wolfgang, and they must have just gone, just be a babyface, man, because the crowd absolutely, and this was what it was. It didn't feel like it was babyface versus heel. It felt like Wolfgang is a dominant force, and that's legitimately that. But he is liked by the UK fans, where Tyler Bates is just absolute pure babyface through and through. I know he can play a heel. I've seen him play a heel over here in the UK. And I've seen Wolfgang be a heel as well, and they both do it really well. But right now, I think because the crowds just really enjoy what they can do, and there's good chemistry between the two, and that's the important thing. You can tell these two have the chemistry. They had it last time in the UK tournament, and they had it again last night. It's just a natural. You can tell these two have had matches between each other dozens of times, and they know how each other works, and that's great. WWE won't ever focus on those points. They would just say, oh, the second time they've ever fought. And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure they fought a few times before this. But it was fun. It was exciting. Tyler Bates getting the crowd absolutely on his side straight away. There was a show of strength between the two, and the crowd started shouting, "Big strong boy, big strong boy," and I was like, yes. Tyler Bates stuff, when he's on Twitter, he does it himself, and it's so fun. Wolfgang was awesome. Wolfgang just felt like a bouncer at certain points, but it was in high flying moves which you don't expect Wolfgang to pull off, but he just can do, which is great as well. So it's that fun little thing. I really can't wait to see how they develop. I've got a feeling Wolfgang will turn heel at some point on the UK NXT scene, because he's just that type of guy. He can either switch easily between face and heel, where Tyler Bates, I think they'll just use as a pure babyface until they want to have that shock, turn at some point. But a very entertaining match. It really, really was good, and you can tell the creative team was just like, go and have fun, guys, just do what you do best, and they did. They really did. So for me, it's going to get an 8 out of 10. Solid main event, and I just can't wait to see what comes next on NXT UK. And there you go, guys, that was the NXT UK episode 2 review, and I thought it was a very solid match. I thought it was very entertaining. Again, like I keep saying, most of these matches and everything are going to be, pretty much introduction. So you get to your main event where they are already superstars. Majority of the UK fans know. To be honest, we kind of know most of these guys from different promotions and stuff like that over here in the UK. But it's just because they're new to the UK brand of NXT, they have to be introduced properly in a babyface or heel or whatever they want to do. But it was great. I really enjoyed it, and I can't, like I keep saying, I really can't wait to see what happens next week. So for me, I'm going to give this a solid 7 out of 10. I really am. I hope next week we start getting a little bit more storylines than just introductions. But I can understand if they do another introduction episode. But after the 4th episode, on the 4th episode, then they need to start adding storylines to everything, because it just feels like they're starting to need it now by that point. So yeah, there you go, guys. What was your favourite part of NXT UK? Leave it in the comments below. If you do like our videos, please remember to like, subscribe, and press the bell to keep notified. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do. It's at Smack Talk YouTube. And if you want to follow me on the old Twitter, you can do as well. It's at Boise88. And I'll see you guys next time on the next Smack Talk Wrestling Reviews.